Intermittent fasting has become one of the most talked about trends in health and wellness, captivating the attention of scientists, celebrities, and everyday people seeking a simpler path to better health. But what is the truth behind intermittent fasting? Does it really work? Or is it just another passing fad in a sea of diet trends? At its core, intermittent fasting isn't a diet in the traditional sense. It doesn't dictate what foods you should eat, but rather when you should eat them. The most common forms include the 16-8 method, where you fast for 16 hours and eat within an 8-hour window, the 5.2 approach, which involves eating normally for 5 days of the week and drastically reducing calories on the other 2, and the alternate day fasting method, which alternates days of normal eating with days of significant calorie restriction. The roots of intermittent fasting trace back to ancient history. Our hunter-gatherer ancestors didn't have access to food around the clock. Instead, they often went hours or even days without eating, depending on when they could find their next meal. In many ways, intermittent fasting mimics this natural eating pattern, aligning more closely with how our bodies evolved to function. Proponents of intermittent fasting claim a variety of health benefits, from weight loss to improved metabolic health and even increased longevity. But what does the science say? One of the primary reasons people turn to intermittent fasting is for weight loss. When you restrict the window during which you eat, you naturally tend to consume fewer calories. But beyond just eating less, fasting initiates a series of changes in your body. Insulin levels drop, facilitating fat burning. Human growth hormone levels may increase, aiding in fat loss and muscle preservation. Cellular repair processes accelerate, with the body removing old, damaged cells in a process called autophagy. Several studies support the idea that intermittent fasting can be an effective tool for weight management. In a range of clinical trials, participants who practiced intermittent fasting lost as much, and sometimes more, weight as those who followed traditional calorie-restricted diets. What's more, intermittent fasting often leads to a greater loss of visceral fat, the dangerous fat stored around internal organs that is linked to a higher risk of chronic diseases. But weight loss is only part of the story. Intermittent fasting appears to have broader metabolic benefits. Research has shown that it can improve insulin sensitivity, which lowers the risk of type 2 diabetes. It may also lead to reduced inflammation, lower blood pressure, improved cholesterol levels, and even better brain health. Some animal studies suggest that intermittent fasting might help protect against neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, though more research is needed to confirm these effects in humans. Another area where intermittent fasting shows promise is longevity. In laboratory studies, animals that are subjected to periods of fasting often live longer, healthier lives than those that eat continuously. While it's far too soon to say if this translates directly to humans, the early data is intriguing. Despite these potential benefits, intermittent fasting isn't a magic bullet. The effectiveness of this approach depends on a variety of factors, including what you eat during your eating windows. Consuming highly processed foods, sugary treats, and excessive calories during your eating periods can undermine any benefits gained from fasting. The quality of your diet still matters. Furthermore, intermittent fasting isn't suitable for everyone. People with certain health conditions, such as diabetes or eating disorders, should consult a healthcare professional before starting a fasting regimen. Pregnant or breastfeeding women, children, and individuals with a history of disordered eating may be particularly vulnerable. It's also worth noting that fasting can sometimes lead to irritability, fatigue, or difficulty concentrating, especially in the early stages, as your body adapts to a new routine. Another important consideration is sustainability. Some people find intermittent fasting easy to maintain and even liberating, since it reduces the need to plan and prepare as many meals. For others, the rigid structure of fasting windows can feel restrictive or socially isolating, making it challenging to stick with over the long term. Like any approach to eating, the best plan is one that fits your lifestyle, preferences, and health needs. So, does intermittent fasting really work? The answer depends on your goals and your individual body. For many people, intermittent fasting can be a safe and effective tool for weight management and metabolic health, provided that it's done thoughtfully and combined with a balanced, nutrient-rich diet. It offers a flexible alternative for those who struggle with traditional calorie counting or restrictive meal plans. But it's not a cure-all. The most important factors in long-term health remain consistent. A diet rich in whole, unprocessed foods, regular physical activity, adequate sleep, and effective stress management. Intermittent fasting can complement these habits, but it shouldn't replace them. As with any dietary approach, it's wise to listen to your body and seek guidance from a healthcare provider if you have underlying health issues or concerns. Start slowly, pay attention to how you feel, and make adjustments as needed. For some, a simple overnight fast of 12 hours may be enough to see benefits, while others may thrive with a longer fasting window. In the end, the truth about intermittent fasting is that it offers a promising, research-backed approach for certain individuals, but it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. Its effectiveness depends on how it's implemented, your personal health profile, and your ability to maintain the routine over time. As science continues to uncover more about the optimal ways to nourish our bodies, intermittent fasting stands out as a practical strategy that aligns with our evolutionary history in modern lives. If you're curious about intermittent fasting, consider experimenting with different methods, keeping track of how you feel, and focusing on building sustainable, healthy habits that support your long-term well-being. Ultimately, the key to lasting health is not just about when you eat, but about making mindful choices that nourish your body, support your goals, and fit your unique lifestyle. Intermittent fasting is just one tool in a much larger toolbox, and when used wisely, it can help you unlock a healthier, more vibrant life.